So I welcome you to the 40th episode of Gyaniki Tech Talk. So now we see the world is racing towards a EV transition from like both from IC engines to an EV world. And so there's one thing that always strikes us, like how do we ensure a smart, secure and seamless charging experience? So today with us we have Mr. Anurang Dorle, co-founder and director of EVCFinder. Mr. Anurang has completed his Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science in MIT College, Aurangabad in June 2012. So after 2 years of experience and later 1 year of experience in iPad software, he decided to quit his job and ensure he brings his dream come true, becoming an entrepreneur and trying to find new solutions to existing problems around. So this marks the beginning of the EVC Finder. EVC Finder involves in various software development platforms based on electric vehicles like two-wheeler scooters, three-wheeler e-loaders and rickshaws, four-wheeler cars, and heavy vehicles. Software solutions in a lot of different things, ranging from private charging app for apartments, offices, workshops, or hostels, public charging station app, EV fleet management solution, EV logistic management solution, EV charging infra management solution, and so on. So now he is looking forward to work in the EV vehicle sector for connecting different stakeholders in development of electric vehicle charging stations in India. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, sir. We look forward to having an interesting interaction today.
Okay. Thank you so much, Varshini, for a brief and detailed introduction about myself. And I would like to thank Shekharji and Gyaniki Talk for inviting me for this excellent interaction about the EV charging. Thank you. I would like to start with my own introduction, how the journey started in my life. Basically, after engineering, after serving 3 years in IT MNC in Pune city, I realized I have to do something different in the particularly in the environment sector. And after that, leaving the job, I worked a couple of years in the solar industry as an EPC engineer. And electric vehicle industry was always my interest area. But I was not sure what to do in the particular industry because the industry was in a very nascent stage in India. In other countries, the development was going on. A few electric vehicles and the charging infrastructure was getting developed, but I was not sure what was my role, what will be my role in this particular industry. Over the period of time, I realized, okay, along with the EV charging infrastructure will be getting developed across India, and in every charging station, it will be a completely manless operated locations or the stations where the people will go to the charging station. They will start charging station by their own. They will make the payments, and accordingly, they will complete the charging session. When I realized, okay, so there is a huge scope of the software solution part or the CMS in every charging session. Uh, I realized, okay, this is the field I want to work with. I shared this idea with a few of my friends. My co-founder Pushpa Khurpade joined me in this journey. We started working on this particular project for the software solutions for EV charging around 3 years ago, and we started working on the technology about how the communication is happening between charger and your CMS, central charging monitoring system. Over the year of we realized there are various communication protocols are there, MQTT. Apart from that, OCPP communication protocol, which is one of the global standard for the charging communication protocol. So we thought instead of going for any kind of proprietary software solution, we thought to work on some global communication protocol, which will be useful in the long-term vision. So it took around 1 year to understand the communication protocol and implement and create a complete CMS ecosystem around it. So during this period, we were in discussion with a few companies who were the major stakeholders in India around 2 or 3 years ago, and they helped us to create the database and with the CMS platform as well for the communication. So in this way, we developed our EVC Finder communication protocol based CMS platform. Today, it is the end-to-end software solution. In the CMS, we have upfront like EVCFinder mobile application for the EV drivers so that they can find out the nearby public charging stations. At the other end, we have another phase which is a web portal for charging infrastructure management for the charging station owners or the managers, so they can check out the all the details about the charging infrastructure, how many charging stations are conducted, about the payments, about other kind of reports, a live dashboard. These things are given in the web portal. So this was our journey so far. And about overall the EV charging industry, we can see there are various business models are developing over the period of time. And at the same time, I realized EV charging and particularly the software part of the charging, it is a kind of a central point of the whole EV ecosystem, because nowadays our vehicles are smart. Vehicle is with some inbuilt software. They are taking the best decisions automatically, and our chargers are also fully connected. But there is a huge scope of the development of this charging infrastructure, because we feel these chargers are connected but not smart yet. This is the very first generation, or let's say in between first or second generation of the charging experience. So at EVCFinder, as a pure software company, we are working towards the development of the more secured, more connected, and more advanced level of charging infrastructure software solution, so that it will be very useful for the whole community, whether it is an EV driver, whether it is a charging station owner, or whether it is a network company. So we are working on that goal. And along with this, actually, as the industry is growing, the charging infrastructure is getting developed. There are various types of chargers. The locations where the charging infrastructure is getting installed, that also varies. Accordingly, the various business scenarios also very different in all cases. So our ultimate objective is to bring multiple scenarios on a single platform, so that it will be easy and seamless experience for the end user. Because if anybody is charge their vehicle in the apartment or offices, okay, so they have to use some different type of let's say mobile application for those kind of chargers. If they are traveling from one city to another city, or they want to charge in particular one city in public charging stations, they have to use different interface like mobile application or any other format. So this is one of the problems we are actually trying to solve at EVC Finder as well. So there are so many things we have to improve, because the industry is in a very early stage, in the nascent stage, and there are so many questions how particular problem about the EV charging, about the connectivity, about the security can be solved. And we feel as a responsible company and very actively working in the EV charging industry, this is our to solve particularly software related problems in the EV charging industry. So this is our journey so far. We have partnered with multiple manufacturers as of now. We are official CMS partner of a few companies. We are working with startups as well, who are actually trying to build some small chargers like AC chargers, 3.3 kilowatt charger or 7.4 kilowatt charger. So the industry is we are actually helping a few companies to create a very well and sophisticated system along with their charger. So as a software company, we are completely focusing on the manufacturer, to work with manufacturers, the installers and the dealers who are actually installing the chargers in various city locations. So this is our journey so far. We are working very rigorously on this front. Many people are connecting us and they are looking forward to use our solution. So this is how it is going so far. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Anurang. So, with regards to EVC Finder, how big is the team and what is the core IP that the team owns?
Right, right. So, EVC Finder currently we are a team of 8 people. Mostly our team members are the software engineers. However, now we have just a few months ago we have hired a product development manager who is looking into the product designing and growth of particularly software solution. This is one thing. And about the intellectual property, if you are asking which thing, so basically the advanced level of the CMS. Currently, every charger is integrated to some kind of CMS. Okay, so these CMS, our observation is these CMS are very basic level CMS. They do not have so many features considering the safety and security of a particular charging infrastructure or the ownership of the chargers. Even that is one of the major problem considering the data. Okay, so our main IP is we are creating an advanced level of the CMS and which will be compatible to the chargers which are coming in the future. Those chargers will be more smart considering all the connected features, the existing feature also, and the more important is the compatibility between the charger and your vehicle, because as of now in India there is a very limited data is getting transferred between the vehicle and the charger. So we are working on that front as well, how that experience can be seamless, and the plug and charge system, how we can develop with the current vehicles as well and for the upcoming vehicles as well. So believe the advanced level of the CMS, that is what the main IP we will be holding as of now.
Okay, thanks, Anurang. A question. See, today is 2022. Okay, how do you envision, let's say, a two-wheeler or a three-wheeler getting charged? How do you envision the interaction of the driver or the user today? And how do you envision this 4 years from now?
Right, right. So in India, actually, two-wheeler and three-wheeler market is growing very rapidly because of the various kind of reasons like government, state government, and the central governments are giving subsidies. The technology is getting developed. As per our knowledge, in India, we have around 350 to 400 two-wheeler companies. Most of them are basically the assemblers, not the manufacturers. We have very few and limited manufacturers in India, manufacturing in India, but most of them are the assemblers. So, if the industry is growing fast, we have to make sure the product we are developing, the electric vehicle, a two-wheeler or three-wheeler, that product is a quality product, because last few months we have seen some bad incidents about the electric vehicle catching fire or some other incidences. So that is one thing. And apart from that, if you particularly asking about the charging, so as very active in this industry, I used to communicate with some people who are actually driving the electric vehicle. So if anybody is standing by roadside on the signal even, I ask them very hesitantly that how is your experience of the two-wheeler? Okay, and whether are you getting some kind of finance of these vehicles to get to buy those vehicles, and what is your charging experience, particularly where you are charging that vehicle. So are you charging at home? Are you charging at public places? So this kind of interaction I used to do. I used to connect with the real user who I believe these people, the real user is going to give us a right feedback and right direction of this industry. So as per my understanding or my knowledge, as of now, most of the two-wheelers are getting charged at their homes only, because whatever the range vehicles have in their battery capacity, let's say 80 kilometer or 100 kilometer, that is more than enough for any employee or any housewife to use in a particular day, in a single day. So most of their charging is happening at home itself. Even I ask after how many days you used to charge your vehicle. So the answer is around 2 to 3 days. Once in a 2 to 3 days we used to charge our vehicle. That is one thing. Now here we are talking about the normal people, common people. However, two-wheeler and three-wheeler vehicles are also used in the different type of business models like ride sharing or the delivery segment. All right, last mile delivery segments. In that case, definitely the charging uh, has to do very frequently. Along with that, I strongly believe two-wheeler and three-wheeler market is shifting to the battery swapping as well. Okay, most comparing to the between two-wheeler and three-wheeler, three-wheeler is marking market is shifting completely to the battery swapping because that market is completely working on the delivery segment or last mile the cargo segment. Okay, and those vehicles cannot afford to charge in the daytime, so battery swapping is happening. And in case of two-wheelers, there is a still 50-50 chances the vehicles will be swapped or vehicles will be charged. It will be completely depend on the technology. Now there are some vehicles coming with a detachable battery as well. So the users are actually removing the battery, taking that battery to home, and they are charging their batteries just like their smartphone. Okay, so that is one more segment actually developing. After all, the industry about the two-wheeler and three-wheeler, we are not sure how much the public infrastructure of the two-wheeler will be utilized. But considering the current scenarios, most of the vehicles are getting charged at office and mostly in the apartments itself.
So let's say when it comes to the key solutions that are there, right? One is the EV. The EV has to go into some sort of certification, right, with the authorities. Uh, Second is the charging station, right? So the bigger charging stations also have a lot of regulation and they have to get certified as well. But in
Right.
the lower end of the spectrum, we do see that there are a lot of vehicles out there which are easily able to bypass the need of stricter regulation, especially in the two-wheeler segment and the e-rickshaw segment. And similarly, a lot of chargers would be soon available in the roadside market. So how do we guarantee the safety of these components and whether the right engineering process has been followed?
Right. Right, exactly. So this is common observation that most of the, particularly the fast chargers, the DC chargers, okay, these are certified by various organizations like ARAI or any other similar kind of organizations. Okay, but this is one more thing we have to consider for the small kind of chargers as well, particularly the 3.3 kilowatt charger, because there are many type of chargers, and a new charger, uh, the market is driving in such a speed that we have to consider the safety and security at a priority, because the current fluctuation may happen. This will lead to some kind of damages to the battery as well of the vehicle. Okay, but the most a few companies who are actually not working on that kind of, they are not giving a basic protection as well in their charging unit. So I think there has to be some regulatory or authorization who will look into such kind of chargers as well, and they will make sure that every charger installing in the market have some minimum kind of prerequisite about the safety and security. If it is not, the chargers will be available everywhere, but it is going to be some kind of disaster in coming near future. So we have to make sure there are some minimum set of regulations, and that thing should be followed by each and every company who is actually installing the chargers. Uh, I used to communicate with many manufacturers, and they say, okay, we developed this charger, but particularly the communication protocol, we do not know how to do it, or the protections, or we do not have a clear guideline from even the government of India. However, the new notifications are coming. But about the safety and security, I think that point is not that much considered, which we should consider in the development of the charging infrastructure as well, because there are many companies who are actually developing the chargers. They are starting from the AC charger, particularly the 3.3 kilowatt or the 7.4 kilowatt type 2 connector gun. But this thing should be happen. And apart from that, there is one more point I want to highlight here. When any startup company is applying to the certification to ARAI, okay, the cost of the certification is little higher. Okay, so even some companies are trying to, follow some standards, and they want to apply for the ARI certification. The cost of the getting that certificate is around 10 to 12 lakhs. So we have to consider this point as well as the ecosystem player. We have to support our startup companies to, how the certification process will be simplified and can be affordable, so that the many companies will get their chargers certified, and it will improve the process of the charger manufacturing as well, and the installation of the charger as well. So that's one more point I would like to highlight in this discussion.
I think that's a valid point, Anurang, because that was holds back a lot of startups, and that brings to my next question. EV was coming slowly, building up pace over the next last 2 years, right? It has survived the pandemic, and now it is seeing all this massive numbers being discussed with e-deliveries, last mile, and the cities like NCR saying that only electric would be there in the future. Uh, is this 2022 going to tip the EV and also the charging in favor of the bigger brands, in favor of the big companies? Because maybe the smaller ones cannot accelerate in the manner which is required. What are your thoughts?
I completely agree with this, because the many big companies are actually trying to adopt e-mobility in their operations, whether it is last mile delivery or any other the ride sharing platform. But yes, because of this movement, many even the smaller companies are also trying to create or uh, create some the sustainability business model in their operations, but they are struggling with some more challenges, like about the battery capacity or the battery usage patterns. Okay, so I think here there is a gap of the knowledge. Okay, so people know that okay, electric vehicle is e-mobility is good, it is actually saving the money, and we are getting more profitable. But about the handling the system, okay, that is something is not that much there is not limited there is very limited awareness on that. So because of that, vehicles are in Pune. Actually, I used to interact with a few companies who are actually giving some delivery kind of services in a smaller range. Let's say they have 5 vehicles or 10 vehicles, but their vehicles are getting stopped in between in the road. Okay, so the charging pattern, which charging technology, which chargers they should use, the protection about the charger, they are not that much aware of that. Even the bigger companies are working on that. Definitely, bigger companies have some processes for everything, for the charging or the utilization of the vehicle. But in the smaller companies, I think the knowledge and awareness is something lacking behind. And I think the manufacturers, actually the EV manufacturers, they should give some proper information to the end users how you can utilize this kind of vehicles and what are the best practices. And at the same time, the service support is very important, because there are very few service centers across the city for the EV charging. And if a small business entity is trying to execute their operations in city using the e-mobility, the breakdown of one vehicle or two, it will give a very big impact on their daily operations. So we have to think these points as well. So awareness and knowledge, these are the important points I feel for the last mile delivery, particularly two-wheeler and three-wheeler segment.
Yeah. So the ownership pattern is also changing, right? Someone else is going to own the vehicle, someone else is going to operate the vehicle, and someone else is going to eventually use the vehicle, right? And in the same scenario, we see that on the charging side also, the charger is coming from some other manufacturer. The ecosystem or the app it is getting used on is from a different company, and then finally the fleets that are using it are also different. So in this ecosystem play, uh, how do people compete with each other, or there is no competition anymore? It has to be collaboration. So what are your thoughts? Can EV
Right.
create a competitive ecospace, or it has to be collaborative?
Right, right. So I think this is really interesting question because not only the e-mobility sector, but if you see in other, the business models as well. Nowadays, it is not happening that only one company is ruling everything, all the operations. Okay, even if you see the food delivery. Okay, so there is one mobile application, let's say Zomato. Hotel owner is there. The delivery, the pickup guy is a different company, and in this way, most of the industries are working in a collaborative approach. And I think in EV industry as well, it is one of the interesting model is happening because as you saying, ownership of the vehicle is different, the driver is different, he is serving for particular company, that is again different. So this is the opportunity for many companies to work together in a collaborative approach by setting some standard processes of each and everything. And competition, there will be competition in every sector, whether it is e-mobility or any other, but we have to make sure uh, while doing the competition, we are not making the EV ecosystem at a lower, we are not bringing the standards at the lower end. Okay, we have to keep some standards so that everybody will be in a win-win situation. Competition, we have to see, instead of competition, we have to look into how collaborative we can work with each and everybody. In case of charging also, so nowadays charging is available as the charging as a service. So the owner basically he is not investing in the charger. Okay, he is only giving the space to park their vehicles and some space to install the charger. Okay, somebody else is investing in the charger and the user is again different one. Okay, so this is a collaborative industry. Everybody is coming with their own expertise. Some investors are getting involved. Some manufacturers who have their own technology. We are a CMS company, we are a software company, we are providing the software part, and vehicles are the basically the end users. So I think from the beginning itself, EV mobility is developing in the format of collaboration, and this is a good approach because everybody is getting chance to share their contribute in this developing ecosystem. So the employment is also getting generated, but only we have to make sure that is while doing the competition, we are not lowering down the standard of the process as well, the vehicles and the operations as well.
Yeah. So, Anurang, when it comes to the charging companies or the front-ending companies, right? Those who will finally interface with the customers, uh, who are the companies in this ecosystem in the space right now? Who, in your mind, are the top five players, let's say?
So you're asking about the EV charging?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So in EV charging, again the charging infrastructure is getting divided into two sector. One is two-wheeler, three-wheeler chargers, and another is the four-wheeler chargers. Now we are here talking about completely about the public charging infrastructure. Okay. Nonetheless, Tata Power, one of the leaders in India as of now, because they are installing chargers at a very aggressive level. They have installed chargers at they started with their own the Tata network like Tata Motors, some other infrastructures available under Tata. At the same time, they are also installing chargers on some highways at, let's say, at a petrol pumps. So currently, they are having the major stake about the public charging stations in all sectors, in four-wheeler sectors particularly. Okay. Apart from that, the charging network company is Ather. However, Ather is very limited to their own network. That their connector gun is compatible to their own vehicle and other very limited vehicles. I think just a couple of vehicles are compatible to that. And but they have to develop a dense network across India so that their vehicles can be easily charged at home as well and at other locations as well. These are the two companies, the top two companies for the charging infrastructure. Tata is for the four-wheeler, Ather is for their own vehicle, that is the two-wheeler. Apart from that, I think there is one company from south which is Xeon Charging. That company is performing very well in the domain of four-wheeler charging. They are installing chargers in the locations of highways, particularly near the restaurants, and these are mostly the fast chargers, the DC chargers. So that is one more company. Apart from that, there is one company very aggressively working on the two-wheeler charging point, that is Kazam and Charger, Kirana Charger. These two companies are working for particularly the small kind of chargers. So I think these are the leader companies. Other than that, ChargeZone is one of the companies who are developing charging infrastructure on highways of Gujarat and Mumbai, Ahmedabad to Mumbai route, and they have some good networks in other states as well. So I think these are some leading companies who are very aggressively working on public charging station domain. Along with that, at EVCFinder, actually we are working on not particularly on the highway or city. Basically, we are a software company. So currently, our most of the chargers are in apartments and offices. These are the private chargers and completely invisible to other people. However, now our some partners are installing chargers in the public locations uh, for the two-wheeler and three-wheeler chargers. At the same time, we are working on some business model where we will be working on various partners across India to develop the charging infrastructure in city as well or in the highways as well. Because we realize because of my good presence on social media platforms, many companies approach me that we want to work in the EV charging infrastructure domain, but we have very limited knowledge and we do not know which charger manufacturing company is good. Even we get the charger, we do not have any software part. So actually, we are looking for such kind of companies to work very closely with EVCFinder, so that our charging infrastructure network we can develop in the particular cities where the e-mobility is adopted very fast and on the highways between two major cities in the metro cities. So these are the our thoughts and our development as of now in EV charging infrastructure. Yeah. So, just a closing note I would like to share here. It was really interesting to have a communication with the EV industry stakeholders through this gyaniki platform. Gyaniki Tech Talk is one of the platform I also regularly follow, and I used to get opportunity to know the thoughts of other EV ecosystem players. And yet at EVCFinder, actually we are working very aggressively, and we are actually looking for such kind of companies, whether it is individuals or small companies, to join us to create the EV charging infrastructure domain. I'm always there available on LinkedIn. People definitely can follow me there or drop a message there. Otherwise, Gyaniki Tech Talk is one of the platforms people can connect with me through this platform as well. So it was really good to interact with this kind of people in today's session. Thank you so much for inviting.
Thank you. Thanks everyone,
Thank you.
and
Thank
have a
you.
good weekend. Anurang, Enjoy the rest of the week.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Rekharji, and
Thank
thank
you.
you, Gyaniki Tech Talk team.
Thank you. Bye.